A macro is an automated series of console actions. Macros are an efficient way to automate repetitive, complex, or hard-to-reach commands in the desk. We're going to learn our first macro, so I just want to make sure I am in live. And I'm going to say learn, which is a new key, 1. And you'll notice above my command line it says learning macro 1. And I'm going to hit enter. And as soon as I start learning this macro, my learn button flashes, as does the learning macro 1 above my command line. And this is to let me know that anything that I input into the desk from here on out is going to be recorded into that macro. So a really quick example, I'm going to say stop effect, enter, and I'm going to hit learn again. And as soon as I hit learn, that's going to stop learning macro 1. Let's go ahead and do another example. I'm going to go ahead and grab group 99 so I can get my parameters in my CIA tiles. And I want to learn a macro that is going to adjust the saturation of any channels I have grabbed. So I'm going to go ahead and say learn to, enter, and now I am learning macro 2. And I want to use select last, which will grab me whatever my most recent selection was. And in the color column of my CIA tiles, I want to go up and find saturation right there. And I'm going to put it at /90, which is going to take my saturation down 10%. And I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to hit learn again. So that'll be a quick macro to allow me to adjust the saturation. And let's do one more example. I'm going to learn macro 3, enter. And I'm going to use again my select last, record, focus palette, next, enter, and then I'll hit learn again. It's good to note here that when I used select last and next, that on my command line, it was giving me the targets that those were attributed to. But as we look at our macro editor in a little bit, we'll see that those commands were actually stored into the macro, so they will populate the appropriate information the next time that I use them. We can also learn things like desk settings into macros. I'll put us in snapshot 2. So I'm going to go ahead and hit displays and get into my setup area. And in my remotes area, you'll notice I have an allow remotes connection, and that can be enabled or disabled. And I want to learn that into a macro. So I'm going to say learn 4, enter, and now I'm learning macro 4. I'm going to hit allow remotes to be disabled, and I'm going to learn again. And we'll see what that looks like when we go into our macro editor. So back out in live, I'm going to say group 2 through 4, full rem dim, enter. And I'm going to put those at color palette 1, enter. So those are in really saturate red. And now if I say macro 2, enter, they're going to get a little less saturate. You can see in my color picker, they move a little closer to white. And if I hit macro 2 again, another 10% less saturate. In addition to calling a macro on the command line, I can also call a macro by a direct select or a magic sheet button, or I can set up a queue execute, a system command, or have a show control connection trigger a macro.